All right. Helps if I add myself to the screen. That would be good. Hi, everybody. Vince here from Real Talk with Vince. So on the weekend, I got a chance to go to the One Nation launch for South Australia and did a bit of chance to network around and get to meet some people. We've got a couple of interviews coming up from other people that will appear on this channel soon. I also did some film and recording there, and unfortunately, I'd have to say I am definitely not a person who should hold a camera. While I recorded the whole speech for One Nation, when I was putting it back into this system to play it, the amount of motion that was in the recording was making me feel sick. So I thought, I can't play that to you guys because I'll have you all sitting there going to the bathroom to throw up. So what I've done is extracted the audio out of that main speech. So in this case, I suggest you listen to it as a sort of a podcast, right, with just audio. So I'm going to play that speech for you today, just so you know what was said and what you can take out, what you want out of it, and make your own judgments. So with that, I shall add that stream to our thing here. It's going to go for about an hour. So enjoy, people. I apologise there's no video to go with it.
Please welcome the leader of One Nation South Australia, Mr. Corey Bernardi.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This gentleman here says, "Do you remember me, Corey?" This is always for babysitting. I'm paying $50. I acknowledge, first of all, and welcome you all tonight, my federal colleagues, former federal colleagues, I should say, Malcolm Roberts, Barney Joyce, and of course the inimitable founder and leader of One Nation, the most prescient politician, the most resilient politician I've ever known. Boy. We're also joined by my running mate, Carlos Corina, and who is the president of One Nation in South Australia. Carlos is a tireless worker for our party. He's become a very good friend, and I believe he's one of our most gifted communicators, as anyone who listens to Five Background. So, Carlos, it's great. A big welcome to all our candidates, of course, and most importantly, to all of you, the people who are putting your heart and soul into furthering our cause to change politics in South Australia. You are the reason that we're all here. Is to give you and to give all South Australians a voice that they can relate to, a voice that they can respect, and a voice that they can rely on. You see, One Nation is different to the Liberal and Labor parties. We're different to the uni parties, I like to call them. We actually mean what we say what we mean. I'm happy to say that our priority is unashamedly the people of South Australia. Our priority is the people that the uni party have left behind, that have made their lives more difficult through insane policy decisions, poor priorities, where the uni parties seem to only want to argue about the spoils of politics and political power rather than actually delivering outcomes for the people of South Australia. But I have to say this, you can't gild the lily. Every 4 years they put on a confected squabble where they bicker like a married couple on occasions, because really they are married, joined at the hip. And they put it on just to pretend that there's some policy differences between them, but in the end, there's not. The only thing they're arguing about is who's going to sit on one side of the chamber and the other. They agree on most things. So they're two sides of the same political coin. And both members, both the blue members and the red members of the uni party, they think more about themselves than they think about any of us. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why your cost of living is going up. Because they'd rather virtue signals for the local green lobbyists than actually deliver reliable, affordable and dispatchable power, which we've always enjoyed in this country. And anything they can't control, they look to put a tax on. If they are in control of something, somehow they always make decisions that make it more difficult for us and make it more expensive. And the evidence of that is absolutely everywhere. You've got to now ask the government for permission, and usually pay the government for permission for everything. Whether it's going to be running your business, or you want to build a house, you want to go to your local boat ramp, you've got to pay the toll to the government every day. It hasn't always been like that. But they're addicted to your money, and they're addicted to their own egos. If you take the most basic example, there's a lot of rhetoric that goes on about home ownership in both at the federal and the state level. It's an ideal goal, it's a lofty goal for all of us. But you have to think the Uni Party really don't give a fig about the long-term interests of landowners, particularly in this state. They just see a cash cow. Every year they collect about $1.2 billion in various rates and fees and charges that have been levied on landowners. And one of those charges is the temporary emergency services area. It was introduced at the turn of the century by the Liberal Party at the time. They both keep it there. It's just another wealth tax for landowners. And so how can you trust anything they say? If you want to build a home or you want to buy a home, you're going to get stuck with a myriad of extra payments as well. Something, an estimate like 45% of the cost of a new home is comprised by government mandated fees and charges and expenses that otherwise you wouldn't have to make. And you couple that with the state government land banking and the pursuit of profits, and you wonder why housing is out of reach for so many. But of course, the Uni Party has an answer. They think that the answer to the problems of today is to bring in more people to solve those problems, even though they created the crisis in the first place. The Uni Party, if it means someone can have their own house, I'll want my own. The Uni Party, honestly, they've created this massive problem by saying you've got to go into a sociology degree and learn how to basket weave, rather than go into a trade in which you're going to make people's lives better. It's just not good enough. And here's the inconvenient truth for Mr. Malinauskas and anyone else who's saying we need to bring more people in to solve skill shortages. We've brought millions of people into this country over the last few years, millions of people, and we've still got skill shortages. That rhetoric is entirely wrong. We need to make sure we bring people in who actually can contribute immediately to the well-being and welfare of this country. We need to make sure that people are coming in here who share our cultural values, who share our ambition for a way of life. We need to bring people here who want to integrate into Australian society and make it better, not change it for the worse. I'm going to say, I think our state should be more than just a vehicle for a premier who really loves our this and that. It's a place, after all, where we all live, we work, we want to raise our families, and we want to do so where we feel safe and united in a common cultural bond. A bond which is forged by a very proud history, and the defence of which will give us a very proud and prosperous future. And I say to you, unashamedly, this is why South Australia needs One Nation. It needs One Nation's values of common sense and our practicality in our parliament to ensure that South Australians actually have a consistent and principled voice. And not just a voice based on the colour of your skin or your ancestry, but a voice for all those who cherish our culture, our history, and our future. And to that end, we commit to abolishing the Aboriginal voice to the South Australian And not only will we abolish that voice, we're going to make sure that we get rid of all race-based legislation, because that is the best way. And we will also fight against the voices that are seeking to derail our children through our education system. We will stop them poisoning our children's minds by reforming the curriculum. There'll be no more black armband teaching of Australia's history. There'll be no more left-wing political bias pushed by teachers. We'll stop the gender ideology. And we will ensure that parents have more power through school boards and education managers. And this should be important to all of our hearts, because the education decisions that we make today will determine the business, the community, and the family leaders of tomorrow. And that means the hard work starts right now. Let me tell you, there is also plenty of work to do. After all, 4 years of the Malinowskis government, they haven't been challenged at all on the floor of the South Australian Parliament. I have to say the lack of engagement by the Liberals has allowed so many problems to manifest. The dangerous ambulance ramping, which Mr. Malinowskis promised to fix, it went from 15,000 annual hours of ramping when he took office to an excess of 45,000 annual hours today. And is he talking about it? No. It's all about whatever, bread and circuses, while the emperor has no clothes. You can do whatever you like. We've got a state debt approaching $50 billion. And despite the government bread and circuses, despite the distractions, people know inherently something's not working for them. They're slowly going backwards. And recently I spent time with some people who are really, really doing it tough. These are people struggling under the weight of mental health issues or substance abuse issues, domestic violence. They were finding it hard to get help, to get treatment. They were living in the parklands. I don't think anyone in the state should be living in the parklands. Firstly, it's against the law, but it shouldn't be necessary in the first place. Why is it that we're a first world state, and yet we've got people living in third world conditions? And of course, some of them, and they admit it, they prefer this sort of lifestyle. Many were looking for a cycle out of it. So we've got to come to a realisation that we're all better off if we can get people off the cycle of welfare, if we can get them the health treatment that they need, if we can get them into the dignity of a job that is actually going to build a better future for themselves, people that love them and depend on them, and for all of us. If we can do that, we'll change politics forever in this state. I'm pleased to announce that One Nation will also end what I call the pay-to-play poison, which I think is corrupting our politics. This is where lobbyists who have very close ties to the major political parties influence pre-selections and make sure that their young proteges get elected, and then they go to those people when they're elected and say, hey, guess what? You better comply with my demands, or I'll make sure you don't win the next pre-selection. What do you reckon happens? Yeah, they comply with the demands. And this was particularly egregious under the previous Liberal government. And it seems to be an infection that is taking over the Liberal Party from coast to coast. Well, I say enough's enough. We've got to take steps to make sure that this abuse of process and power never, ever happens again. With One Nation, there will be no more political coercion. There will be no special deals with thuggish unions. There will be no more stacking and already bloated public service, which we can't afford. There will be no more misuse of ministerial powers. We'll just have open and transparent government, which will make our state work for our benefit. The Union Party won't want that change. They like the secret deals that ultimately benefit them both. And that's why they will not allow optional preferential voting in our state elections. You see, ultimately, they know you have to put one side or the other of the Union Party on your ballot paper. And they think that entrenches their power. Well, why should we have to vote for a party that we loathe, that doesn't reflect our interests? Why should we have to vote for an organisation or an outfit that is working directly contrary to what we think is important for us? It doesn't matter how far down the ballot paper they go, eventually you still have to put a mark next to their square. We say enough is enough of that. We will abolish compulsory preferential voting in South Australia. And one of the great privileges of being the leader of a political party is that you can really get the bugbears out of your system. And this one has annoyed me for decades. Why should any of us pay a tax on a tax? I can see people nodding, right? You know what I'm talking about. The government charges you stamp duty on an insurance contract or a financial contract, whatever it is. And then the federal government says, oh, well, let's make a GST on top of that stamp duty as well, because we want our fair share. Well, I say you've got more than enough, thank you very much. Let's get rid of stamp duty on financial contracts like insurance. Why should people who are looking after their own future, insuring themselves against calamity and not relying on the state, why should they be punished by paying a double whack of taxation? That alone would save hundreds of millions of dollars for families and individuals in this state. And that is what we are committed to doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we wouldn't be realistic. I have to say we cannot get entirely carried away with the current political system or the current state. We're not here to commentate on the latest polls or to pontificate about what might happen if we do this or do that. Ultimately, the toughest part of this election lies ahead of us. We have 4 weeks to go. And believe me, the Uni Party will move heaven and earth to stop whatever momentum we build up, to stop your voice being heard, and they will do it to protect their interests against the interests of South Australia. They will background the media, they will smear us, they will sneer at us, they will make fun of us, they will try, I'm not going to say try and imprison us because they've already tried that. But they will be targeting us because we want to speak up for the very people they do not want to be heard. And for 30 days, slightly under 30 days, we have to capitalise on the investment, the work, the trials and tribulations of our founder, Pauline Hanson. For 30 years, she is beavering away at this space. Our task is to weather the coming storm, and it will be a storm, trust me on that. We need to work together, we need to continue to champion our values. They're Australian values, they're South Australian values, and we need to promote the innate common sense that we bring to the table, the plain spokenness, the actual policies that will deliver results rather than just enrich a few. And after this next election, whether we have 1 seat or 2 seats or 10 seats, I can make you this promise. It is a promise I make to all South Australians. 1 seat, 2 seats, 10 seats. We will be your strongest voice, your strongest advocates. We will be fearless and committed to representing your interests like no one else in the South Australian Parliament. I always have to say we cannot do it alone, we cannot do it without every single one of you, without you going out and advocating for our cause, for advocating for our values, for fighting for our candidates, manning those polling booths, for getting involved and encouraging other people to get involved. And we do it, all of us do it, because we love this state. And we're united by the common values that we share. So from now until election day, 28 days time, let's leave no stone unturned. Let's just do everything we possibly can to get as many of our candidates over the line. Let's equip ourselves well. Let's carry ourselves with dignity, minimise the opportunities for the Uni Party and their hacks to smear us and smash us. Let's do it because the state deserves it. 30 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, a political movement was started in this country. And it was built around 2 essential concepts: a patriotic view of Australia and a desire for fairness for all Australians. Today, I'm really pleased to be part of that movement. I'm proud that you're all part of it, and I'm proud to say it's a movement that is now stronger than ever. We all come from different backgrounds, including babysitting backgrounds. We have different gifts and we have different skills. We're actually united by a lot. We're united by those shared values, the deep love we have for our country and for our state. So I say to you, together, we will actually change politics. So in just under 30 days, we will benefit from those 30 years of hard work. We'll be a better state. We'll have more opportunities. And with every single one of us, we'll make sure that we can create one essential thing. One nation, our state, because we are stronger as one.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Corey, it's a tall unit, Corey. Thank you very much, Corey, for those words. I know it's an understatement, but Senator Pauline Hanson is a veteran and a legend of Australian politics. Whilst dozens of her federal opponents chase populist themes and woke ideologies, Senator Hanson faithfully fights for those values which ordinary Australians like you and I hold dear. It is my very great honour to welcome the National Leader of One Nation, Senator.
Well, to put it in words how proud I feel now, it's hard to say. I've met many of you tonight, I've spoken to you and I've shaken your hand, and I've looked into your eyes and I just feel, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for being here. 30 years ago on the 2nd of March, I was first elected to the House of Reps as an independent, first independent woman in the House of Reps. I was unknown. I think I hit the headlines. I didn't know what the hell happened to me, actually. It took John Howard to throw me out of the Liberal Party to get known because I dared say I wanted to politics for all Australians. And I still say that. I want a fair go for all Australians. I want us to be proud of our nation. We've been privileged to actually be born here or migrated here for that new way of life. It's something that I cherish deeply. But it's been taken for granted by the politicians who think they know better than you, not interested in what we have to say. My foray into politics was done pure by chance. Did I want to be a career politician? No way in the wide world. It just happened. And when I actually got the opportunity to represent people, I realised the responsibility of what that job meant. To be a representative for the people. Not for a political party, not for anyone else, but to make the decisions on behalf of the people for their well-being, not only themselves, but for the future generations. I've had my battles over the years. I've had my ups and downs. Some I care to forget, others I can't. Do I have regrets? No. When I first entered politics in 1996, and then I was elected in that same year, and then I formed the political party in 1997. And then I found the major political parties because that support was out there then, the same as it is now. And they put the fear into them. And that's why they changed the voting system to stop One Nation all collude together and preference us last. I hope that doesn't happen in this election, with future elections. That's why my intention is to empower the people to understand how preferences work, so you will make your vote count. That's what's important. Today is the launch for the party in South Australia. You have no idea how proud I am of the candidates here tonight. Each and every one of you. It's not easy to be a candidate, to put your hand up. A lot of you think, oh my God, what have I got myself into? I know, I've been there. I've worn your shoes. And it's about relating to the communities, because I know what you are doing it, because you have children. You're not happy with the way the country's going. You fear for their future. And you know that if you don't have a go, what's going to happen? So you see, it's a united effort from each and every one of us that we have to put our hands up. Geez, I come straight out of my small business, as the media like to say, fish and chip shop. You better believe it, mate. I worked hard and I stood over those cookers day in, day out. But I provided for my family as a single mother with 3 children still at home at that time. I tried to denigrate me and put me down because I haven't got the university degree or I don't have a silver spoon in my mouth. But as I said the other day, you know what I have got? And I thank my parents for it. It's called common sense. So my time in politics was, as I said, unexpected. And to tell you the truth, I'm the quiet one of the family. I've got 6 brothers and sisters. So if they ever got into politics, who knows what the hell might happen. John Howard would have really had his hands full. But I'm so proud to have Corey Bernardi as the leader of this party in South Australia. But before Corey was Carlos Romero. Carlos continued you have done an amazing job. And I'm so proud of you to have, been there, holding it, and to lead the way. And working with Corey, with all the others, and Rebecca, who's come through on the ticket, you're going to do a fantastic job. You really are, and you have done a fantastic job with the rest of the candidates. I'm going to also acknowledge a person who tonight I have so much respect for, who's always watched my back, who's always supported me, has never complained, and I have the utmost admiration and love for, and that's Senator Malcolm Roberts. And if the media are worried about some marriage breakup between Barnaby and I, well, Malcolm and I have lasted all these years, 10 years, so I'm a long time waiting to see if I can wake up. So that brings me to Barnaby. G'day, Barnaby. What an addition to the party he's been. There was no agreements that were talked about before Barnaby come on board. We didn't have to. We're on the same page, what we want to do for the country. You see, the Nationals and the Libs are spitting nails, not chips, spitting nails now, because they know what they've lost. I saw in Barnaby a man that wanted to represent his country, but wasn't given the opportunity. He was pushed to the back bench. They wanted to get rid of him. And I thought, you don't waste that. A man who was the former Deputy Prime Minister of the country, the portfolios he's held, he had a lot to offer. And we are extremely lucky to have Barnaby join the team of One Nation, as I have with our other senators in Sean Bell from New South Wales and also Tyrone Whitten from the Western Australian, representing Western Australia. So it's about a team effort. This party's not about Pauline Hanson, if you think it is. Well, I'm telling you differently. It's about a team effort, all of us, with the same passion and drive that we will stand up and represent you. I don't tell any of my members of Parliament what to say or do, but I will tell them, get some mongrel in you, because that's the only way we're going to turn this into. So I've just, I can put my foot in my mouth occasionally on the odd occasion. But anyway, you stand true to yourself and you toughen up, precious, as I say to myself. And if I can get out there and say it, then I'll see it all the way through. But I will apologise if I do get it wrong, which is very rare. I can, if when I'm wrong. But you know what? This election in South Australia that's coming up, it's going to be the test for One Nation. They're going to be watching what's happening here. So I think it's very important, if we want to have a voice for the future, we must get it right here. I'm not just watching the polls. I know what it feels like on the ground as I move across the country, wherever I go. People want change. People are looking towards One Nation because they want hope. They want hope for the future generations. We're sick of all this BS over climate change, gender dysphoria, male or female, everything that's happening. And that's not the issue. These are the issues. I want industry manufacturing back. I want pride in us as a nation. I want to find one flag, not two flags. This is the party that formed, this is the party that I want to lead, and this is what my colleagues and I represent. It's about you, it's about me, it's about us, we the people. We want a voice, and we have a right to have that voice, and we have a right to have an opinion. And I will keep fighting every day to stop these elitists, these politicians who have no regard for why they are there, what they should be doing for the people in this nation. And I will not listen to international interests telling us how to run our country. So, Corey and the team, all the best for the 21st of March. We are all behind you and wish you all the best. I'm so proud of you.
Couldn't stand the musical chairs. Thanks. Stay there because Malcolm's next. Sorry, Malcolm. Senator Malcolm Roberts is another veteran of One Nation, but with his own unique technical and analytical skill set. A tireless warrior and pursuer of truth in federal politics. Please welcome Senator Malcolm.
Look at all the truthers. Thank you for being awake. And thank you for making an effort for South Australia. Together, we are on the front line of an information war, an indoctrination war. The one thing I want everyone to remember is that as people now awaken to political facades, the last 7 decades, political status quo is ending. It matters because South Australians are suffering artificially exorbitant energy prices, cruel cost of living, and family-crushing house prices and rents. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I want to thank my wife Christine for letting me be here tonight. Thank the organisers for making me come tonight. For Pauline and Barnaby for being here tonight. We're going to welcome Corey and Celia. What a wonderful addition. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Nathan, and every candidate. One topic tonight. Energy prices affect every aspect of our lives and work. It's the foundation of modern civilization and international competitiveness. The foundation. I'll show tonight why and how South Australians lost sovereignty and control over South Australia's energy. You are not in control. And how One Nation can get it back to South Australians. Earlier this week, in a Senate inquiry, I had a bit of fun. Labor's Department of Climate Change and Energy could not provide me with scientific proof that climate is even changing, let alone that it's due to us. They admitted, relying on the UN IPCC, the UN's corrupt climate body that Maurice Strong created. It provides no hard data, no scientific proof. Instead, get this, it mislabels outputs from unvalidated and erroneous computer models and calls them, those numbers, data. It is a complete lie. Then, next, the department revealed no policy basis for transition to expensive solar, wind and batteries under UN Agenda 21 and Sustainable Development Goals that Maurice Strong, there's the name again, led since 1992. No cost-benefit analysis, no business case, no plan, no tracking progress. We are not transitioning. Chris Bowen is blindly driving us off a cliff at a cost of $1.9 trillion. Trillion. And South Australians are suffering the most under Australia's stupidly highest electricity prices. Meanwhile, the USA now uses real science to restore energy from affordable hydrocarbon fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas. We have 24,000 data sets from scientific agencies worldwide, including Australia's Bureau of Meteorology, including the ones they won't show you, and CSIRO, that prove no climate change is occurring, none at all. Just inherent natural variation in warm cycles, cooling cycles, warm cycles, cooling cycles. That's it. So who was Maurice Strong? A Canadian oil magnate who started the UN Environmental Program in 1972 and manipulated his way to its lead. It concocted science, and in 1976 to ban the insecticide DDT that had successfully eradicated the killer disease malaria in the Western nations. Then, after 40 to 50 million people died needlessly of malaria in India, Asia, and Africa, the UN restored DDT's use. So after killing 40 to 50 million people, in 1980, Maurice Strong systematically started entrenching bogus claims of future catastrophic climate change due supposedly to human production of carbon dioxide and land use. In 1988, he formed the UN political climate body, the UN IPCC, fraudulently proclaiming it to be scientific. Maurice Strong was the founding director, this is where it all comes together, of the Chicago Climate Exchange, trading carbon dioxide credits, which is nothing more than a corrupt global carbon dioxide tax, to make its directors billionaires and to provide the UN ongoing revenue. Then Maurice Strong concocted systems for climate prostitutes, stealing parasitic subsidies for solar and wind power, and some of them are here in this country. When American law enforcement sought Maurice Strong for illegal water trading and for involvement in the UN's oil for food scandal, he fled to exile in China, a major beneficiary of the West's climate and energy insanity. As the Liberal Labor Uni Party implemented UN Agenda 21, federal MP, one, courageously exposed Agenda 21 in 1996, soon after the Red Ed ended Parliament. Pauline Hanson exposed Agenda 21. In 2013, South Australian MP Anne Bressington accurately exposed UN Agenda 21, fabricating and entrenching bogus crises blamed on you. to control all aspects of human society and lifestyles, to control you, to control us all. Maurice Strong said, quote, "The enemy is humanity itself. They hate you. They hate us." This extraordinarily intelligent control freak, Maurice Strong, with a wicked talent for cleverly manipulating people, including national leaders around the world, openly stated his life's aims as, get this, deindustrializing Western civilization and putting in place an unelected socialist global governance. Now, in a report to the UN, the Club of Rome's Maurice Strong, yes, he was everywhere, stated, quote, "In searching for a new enemy to unite us, being humans globally, we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, which are relevant in this state, famine, and the like would fit the bill." They started to scare the crap out of people. In 1992, as UN Earth Summit Secretary General, another title, Maurice Strong said, quote, "It is clear that current lifestyles and consumption patterns of the affluent middle class, that's you, involving high meat intake, consumption of large amounts of frozen and convenience foods, use of fossil fuels, ownership of a motor vehicle, including small electrical appliances, home and workplace air conditioning, and suburban housing. Anyone guilty? These are not sustainable. Maurice Strong's report said human activity caused all these dangers and requires a global response. Shame on you all. UN Agenda 21 is about controlling every aspect of our lives and transferring wealth from we the people to globalist climate prostitutes.
Global communism.
In my first Senate speech in 2016, I called out UN Agenda 21 and called for Australia to exit the UN. I'm pleased to say that that is now one nation policy thanks to this lady. We want the people of South Australia to regain control over their lives, over your lives and over your state, and stop transferring billions of dollars to climate and energy whores, stealing your money and transferring it using subsidies, grants and taxes. As your financial position goes backward, Labor, Greens and Liberal moderates' social policies attack and divide you as colonisers, degendered and disrespected. Maurice Strong drove those attacks as well with policies to smash the two basic structures of human civilization, the family and the nation state. Only one nation will remove this psychopath's grip over South Australians. He's a criminal psychopath. We will return to you affordable living, affordable energy, ending the UN's net zero scam, the UN Paris Agreement, the UN Kyoto Protocol. We will restore lifestyle choices by ending the UN's 1992 Rio Declaration and Agenda 21. Restore industry and jobs, reversing the 1975 UN Lima Declaration, which gutted our manufacturing. We will reduce housing costs and rents with One Nation's comprehensive housing and immigration policies, with 200,000 deportations, free migration. As Tory said, we will end this state's voice to Parliament. That is another UN-sourced blight. We will provide local government reform. Liberal, Labor, Uni-Party state and federal governments and the Greens silently impose UN restrictions, fraud and burdens on South Australians based on lies. So the one thing I want everyone to remember is that as people now awaken to uni-party political facades, the last 7 decades political status quo is ending thanks to these people. Only One Nation will restore your state's sovereignty and governance to South Australians. A vote for One Nation is putting South Australia first. Thank you.
Thank you, Malcolm. The Honourable Barnaby Joyce MP is a former Deputy Prime Minister, skilled politician and widely acclaimed champion for regional Australia. But I think we can agree that his less formal title now might be Pauline's hot new recruit. Please welcome the Honourable Barnaby Joyce.
Well, look, it's an absolute pleasure to be here in South Australia, and I'll go through the formalities. I'd like to acknowledge a boss. We're still happily married. The relationship's going well. There's no kids on the way, but don't worry about that. Everything's going fine, right? The only way they think they can beat us is to divide us up. The One Nation, clarity, unity, strength. We're not going anywhere, so find another way to take us. I've known this guy for a long while, Corey Bernardi. You know what I like about him? He's better looking than Malnukas, and he's also smart. You get two for the price of one with this one, the real deal. For Malcolm, a warrior for so long, just in the trenches, never stopped, always there. He doesn't realise the following he has. He's got it. He's got it. They follow you, Malcolm. They do, mate. And they're so proud of your tenacious approach for this nation. You're like a dog with a bone. You're just never giving up. Good on you, mate. To Carlos, who managed to break my Lenten pledge to give up grog. It's great to go around the countryside with you. And to all the candidates, put your hand up. All the candidates are here. Put your hand up. You know, to start with this, I'd like to acknowledge all the veterans who have served our nation. Please don't welcome me to my own country. You know, in 19th of November 1863, a gentleman you might have heard of called Abraham Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address, and he said, "We may well not note nor long remember what we said here." And from that brief oration became one of the most seminal speeches that was at the start of the creation of the strongest nation on earth, the United States of America. Look around the room. Look around the room. I can't give a great oration, but you here in South Australia tonight, you, in the future, you might think they may not well remember nor note what you did, but you are part of the first battle of One Nation about reclaiming this nation. It's going to happen here in South Australia. You have to work like a ripple on a pond. There is no messianic figure over your shoulder. When you want to know who's going to change South Australia, you meet them every morning in the bathroom in the mirror. It's you. You have to be part of this. You've got to work. You've got to work those streets. You've got to hand out how to vote cards. You've got to talk to people. You've got to basically be in every corner. It's not only South Australia that's relying on you. Australia is relying on you. This is the battle to move our nation back, and you are at the centre of it. It is for you to lead this charge. You know, They say about One Nation like it's a grievance party. Well, there's a hell of a lot to grieve about. I mean, what have we done to this country? We used to have the cheapest power on the planet, or the cheapest power in the Western world. Now we have amongst the dearest. They lord South Australia, and you got the dearest in the dearest country. In the last month, you've had blackouts, you have record power prices, we've deindustrialised, we've lost our aluminium industry, our plastics industry, our steel industry is on its knees, our urea industry is gone, our heavy glass industry is gone, our steel industry is on its knees. We've had record insolvencies in small business, record insolvencies. And last year they're proud because only 303,000 people came to Australia. Where are the houses for them, ladies and gentlemen? And they said that we're a proud, multicultural nation. Well, didn't that work out well at Bondi? When there was a human turkey shoot on Australians on a beach on a Sunday afternoon in broad daylight. No, we are not multicultural. We are an Australian culture. We believe that there are guardrails on how you act, how you conduct yourself. We are egalitarian, we're temperate, we're patriotic, and we will not put up with garbage anymore. One Nation allows me to be honest about so many things before I had to curate, I had to carefully say, until in the end I felt I was saying nothing at all. So I'm going to tell you now, Chris Bowen cannot change the friggin' temperature of the globe. He can't. This idea that we have completely butchered this place on this bizarre idea that the government, made up of people who can't change a tyre, are going to change the climate. And we've accepted it because it was the politically correct thing to do. Well, it no longer is. We're going to make sure that we re-plumb this place with the most cheapest baseload power. We're going to build coal-fired power stations and we're going to burn. Remove the moratorium on nuclear power. You have Olympic Dam here. You should be the centre of nuclear technology. There should be a powerhouse, a smart house, a place where people say in South Australia are the smartest people on the planet. Look at their nuclear power station, look at their nuclear industry, look at their scientists. This should be you. And you've got a state government that says, no, you're not allowed to do that. That is evil. You must remain knuckle draggers. You must build the wind turbines of the 21st century. No, you want to build the nuclear power plants of the 21st century. And you're going to say, that's South Australian, we built it, it's our technology. There is my state manifesting the best technology in the world. You can do it, you really can. But it starts with him, and starts with him, and starts with those people over there. You know, we have to stand up for other things too. This nation is a Christian nation. It is based on a Christian culture. And I'm sick of being told to be ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of it. And I want other people to acknowledge that pride of what I have. Real pride is something that really matters. I believe in one flag. I believe that school teachers have a responsibility to make my children proud of my nation, not ashamed of my nation. If a child wants to put an Australian flag on the lid of their computer, I do not want the teacher saying that's offensive and then having the cultural worker turn up and saying you must remove that because it's offensive. I find them offensive. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to delay you because I know you want me to shut up. No, I just want you to be proud of yourselves. This is your nation. This is South Australia. You can make this place a powerhouse. The only limitation is your government. Don't be swindled. Don't let the guile and charm of Mr. Malinakis, he's a good-looking guy. He's a good-looking guy. Now, I must admit, my heart flutters a bit every time I see him. But he's not taking me forward. He's dragging me back. Yeah. And you can say in the future, I was there that night. I was there. I was part of that when in South Australia, we led the first battle to reclaim Australia, to reprioritise Australia, so that we could give to our children the nation and the state that was endowed to us by our parents and our grandparents. We turned it around and we took up that fight, and it happened that night in Adelaide, and I was there. You can do it. You must do this. All the best. And God bless.
Thank you so much, Barnaby, and welcome to the party of straight talkers. All I can say is it must have really killed you with that other mob not saying what you really meant. I invite you guys to stay here, please, for our next part of our evening. And I would now like to call on. Sorry, before I do that, we're going to go through our lower house candidates, and we're going to need a bit more room out front. So if I could ask everyone perhaps to move back 2 or 3 metres, because there's certainly not room to have them all up on stage. That'd be great. All right, I would now like to call on Mr. Carlos Porema, the President of One Nation South Australia.
Right, thank you. Wow. Can I just take a moment to take this in, please? I think, yeah, because my heart is like pumping right now. Where were we 6 months ago? Yeah, where were we? I can tell you where we were. We had a member of Parliament who, in my eyes, was not really representing the party. And she left, okay? We had no executive, no member, no money, and we had a discussion, and Pauline believed in me, and I thank you so much for that, Pauline. And as long as I have oxygen in my lungs and my ass pushed to the ground, I will fight every single day to deliver for the people of South Australia, to deliver for One Nation, and to deliver for Australia. Thank you. Now, I must admit it has not been easy. We've had some moments, candidates, we've made lions out of kittens, and now we have to herd them back in. We've got to make sure that we don't trip over ourselves, because the Uni Party will be coming after us. That is guaranteed. They do not want the status quo to change. But I've got a message for the Liberal and Labor Party. You come after my candidates, you come after me. Now there's an amazing group of people here, and there's an amazing group of people there, and there's even a bigger amazing group of people out in this state who want change. And we must deliver. We must work tirelessly to deliver. We cannot stop. Every election, local government election, state election, federal election, we have to keep fighting until we run the state and until One Nation runs the country. Now, this gentleman here is the scalpel. I am the sledgehammer. And these candidates here we're going to bring up shortly, these are the hard-working citizen politicians that have put their hand up. And it's not easy being a candidate. It's not easy. but they've put their hand up because they care and they need our support. They need to be out on they need us out on the polling days of booths, handing out those how to vote cards to change the minds of South Australians so that we give them an opportunity. We give our children an opportunity. You know, I do this for my daughter and my children. I do this for my flag, and I do this for my country. Okay? Let's not forget that. Let's not forget every day while we do this. Now, there's one person that I really have to acknowledge. Obviously, Pauline, an amazing job what you've done. Absolutely amazing, please. Now, there's one other amazing lady in this room right now, and I'm looking at her right now, my partner, Kirsty. Thank you very much. She is definitely my better half. So what I'd like to do now is we're going to start introducing all the candidates as we go along. Some of them I'll introduce. They're not here, obviously, because they're in faraway places because we do have a big state. Oh. Okay. Wonderful. We're going to get some photos first.
Okay, so we'll just stop it at that point there. If you actually wanted to go and have a look at the candidates that actually came across, we have that footage here on the Freedom Broadcasting Network in another show. It lists off all those candidates as they come through. I once again apologise for the fact that I had to do this as purely audio, but I really didn't want to make all of our viewers seasick with my terrible photography. Hopefully, as we grow and as we build, we'll be able to have another person who actually operates the camera. That would be fantastic. But effectively, if you have a close listen to that audio that we just played and listen to what they had to say, I think you'll find that what they're saying is what a lot of people are looking for generally in that. Remember, I'm trying to stay as nonpartisan as possible. So effectively, it's your choice on who you believe is right for the country. So with that, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening and give this a thumbs up and a like and try and spread it around. Other people need to listen. They need to hear because they've got to make a very important choice for what's going to happen in this country down the track. And what choice they make is totally up to them. So from me here at Real Talk with Vince, I'd just like to let you know there's some more interviews coming with, we have Adrian Pedrick from Hammond. He's going to be jumping on from Liberal. Robert Roylance from One Nation's also going to be jumping on. So we've got some other interviews companies coming. So hopefully they will give you some idea on what the candidates will be like. So for Real Talk from Vince for now, all I say is stay strong, keep the faith, choose wisely. Good night.